Greetings, this presentation covers Epicor Eclipse Contact Maintenance. Contact maintenance is kind of another one of those dark areas in Eclipse, a tool that is very useful and vital, but somehow doesn't get the due diligence that it deserves. In a normal distributor, most people, most salesmen, they have the people that they are routinely contacting either in their cell phone or in their Outlook, and that's all well and good until someone's gone on vacation or you need to exchange information and such. Nobody seems to have a master list. Contact maintenance is a perfect place to be putting all that information so that it's communicated across the company without a whole lot of loss and questions. Anyway, contacts should be created for all employees, vendors, routine customers, and anyone affiliated with a job or ship to. The contacts are also created for the e-commerce connector function if you've got an e-commerce website. In many cases, you kind of manage the interaction with the contacts. Contacts should also be joined to customer or vendor records when that's valid, and are accessible and editable within the customer and vendor maintenance screens, so you can pop back and forth to them. Here in this example you can see we've created a contact, Fred Dunster. We've connected him to the entity in customer maintenance for Dunster Electric, added the address information, and now we're down to this classification field. Classification is not strictly necessary, it's just there to help with grouping and reporting purposes. This can be a free-form entry, which means just type away, or it can be predefined. I would suggest, for consistency's sake, you go into control maintenance and create a list of selected classifications that'll show up on the drop down so that you have more consistency across your organization. Once you get down to the phone list tab, enter in as many phone numbers as are valid and useful. As you can see here, the phone list codes, if you need to add a few more codes that aren't currently on the list, as with most things in Eclipse, that's done in the control maintenance, and go into the control record for valid phone codes and add or delete to the list as necessary. When you get down to the www tab, you're going to go ahead and enter in company website address if you have it. Most people don't, but if you got it, put it in. Normally the only thing you're putting in here is email addresses. Hopefully you've got multiple, but you may only have one. When you enter in the address, select a type, and the common types are company, personal, alternate. If you need to add more to the types and you're the systems administrator, you can go into control maintenance and go ahead and add or delete to the type list as needed. Preferences controls when you send messages out of the Eclipse system to a customer, whether it's formatted in HTML or formatted in text. Typically HTML is chosen out of the two just because it's a little prettier. If you leave it blank, it's going to default to HTML in most cases. The access list selection off of the menu is used to control access to the record from the Eclipse Salesforce automation application. I honestly have never heard of this product in 12 years. I don't know if it's even supported anymore. Honestly, Epicor has not seen fit to try and sell it to me in 12 years, so it's not something that they're really actively pushing. So odds are you'll never do anything with this. The keyword selection allows you to do some more free-form grouping or add some more search words to particular records, make them a little easier to find. And it's completely free-form, so add what you need. I've honestly never seen anyone make use of it, but it's there, so there you are. The additional information section, as best as I can tell, is not used. In my system, all it does is trigger an e-term session and beep at me. Perhaps other companies have, I don't know, some special coded additions that they've done, but it does nothing in my system, probably doesn't in yours. Selecting entity maintenance in the contact maintenance is going to pull up the customer or vendor maintenance window of of the record that's linked to the contact, if there is one, and allow you to view or edit the information depending on what authorizations you have. If you notice in the lower left hand, you'll notice phones, contacts, www, and of course we're seeing here the AP email address, AP fax. If you clicked on www, you'd probably see the AP email address for this customer. This is a holdover from legacy Eclipse development, and these information fields are embedded in the customer maintenance record, and they're not in the contact maintenance record. And they've done kind of a hokey-pokey thing of linking the contacts to the customer on a separate tab. And this is kind of kooky, but you know, that's just the way it is. Typically, in the customer maintenance, the only phone numbers or email addresses are going to be either for the owner or for the AP, and usually only the credit manager is going to be looking at those. So most of your contact information you're going to still continue doing in the contact maintenance and not in the customer maintenance. The default credit card information selection off of the contact menu, that's kind of an odd one. Normally you would not store credit card information at the contact level. Usually it's either stored at the customer record level or at the sales order level. This might be used in some e-commerce products. If you've got an e-commerce website, I'm not quite sure. Never seen use of it. As it is, you also wouldn't use this unless you've also bought the Element Vantiv credit card payment gateway product and have that implemented in your system. And if you do, you're not really storing the credit card numbers or sensitive information in here. What you're storing is a token that goes to the Vantiv website that allows you to complete the transaction. If you want more information on that, there's a whole series of presentations that covers Element Vantiv payment gateways. The web order entry information selection in Contacts allows you to do something very interesting. It allows you to grant access for customers to do their own bids, orders, or stock checks using the Eclipse Mobile companion product if you've purchased that and had it installed. It even allows you to change the views, limit some of the functions, and even put in a line of credit, which it's unusual that it's in here, but if you do have customers that you've want to grant this ability to, this is an extremely powerful sales tool. And there's a whole other presentation on the Eclipse Mobile product, which I think is an extremely powerful and extremely underutilized product. Well worth the price to put in if you can get people to use it. And it also renders very well on today's smartphones, so it can be very useful in the field. This is just a quick view of what the Eclipse Mobile web interface might look like once you've granted a customer access to get into it and view it. Once they log in, it creates a shopping cart and allows them to do the basic functions. And as you saw from the selections on the previous slide, you can reduce some of the functions that are available here. I am not sure, but I assume that if you've got a COD customer that you're trying to grant access to, that you're going to need the Vantiv Element companion product for the credit card payment gateway in order for them to do a credit card charge on this, unless you've decided to give them a limited line of credit for web orders. But as I said, we've never used this. I've never heard of anyone using this, but it seems like an extremely powerful tool. I'd love to see it put into wider use. The user-defined data selection allows you to capture additional information than just what was in the other main fields of the contact maintenance, and it has a whole listing population of common stuff you might think of, and you can of course add things to it. This one is kind of odd. Most lists that are defined in Eclipse are usually managed using the control maintenance section of the system. This one is different. You actually have to go into the eTerm Universe Database Dictionary Maintenance to add additional fields or modify existing ones. Here you see in the last window here on the far right what the dictionary maintenance for the Universe database looks like. Do not make modifications to this if you're a newbie. You have to have a pretty good grasp of how the Universe database is constructed and how the files interact. This really should not be something that you monkey with unless you've talked to Epicor tech support. Good luck getting them on the phone. But I pointed out there that it is possible, and if you feel like you have a good understanding of Universe, that you can go ahead and add these additional fields as you need. And this concludes our presentation on contact maintenance in Epicor Eclipse. I hope this information has been useful, or at least hasn't put you to sleep. And as always, I am not Scott Zahn.